Heyo everyone, Hexi here. Today, I'm going to be telling you about a game that I use to test out all my latest arcade software and hardware whenever I'm switching over to new systems or whenever I want to update my arcade emulators. That game is Giga. Now, Giga is different from other shoot-'em-ups at the time because instead of using the vertically oriented screen that a lot of other shoot-'em-ups were using, it opted for a horizontal layout, which was more in line with the 2D platformers like Ghosts and Goblins and fighters like Street Fighter. Considering that Taito was working on modular arcade cabinets at the time that had hot swappable screens that could be reoriented so that arcade operators could easily swap the games on a cabinet, it's a little odd that Capcom chose to go this route, but it works, considering the modified mechanics in this game. Yes, instead of having the regular thing where you hold the shoot button to slow down and move more accurately, Giga instead opted for a shield that can reflect bullets back at the enemies that fired them, so you can hit them with their own barrage of bullets and do major damage to them.
And you attack its weak point for massive damage.
I can only think of a fistful of games that have really great audio feedback. One example would be the alert sound from Metal Gear Solid. Iconic. This game also has great audio cues, like the robotic "okay" whenever your shield recharges, which lets you know that your meter's full without even having to look at it. In addition to the shield mechanic, the game has a pretty standard bomb ability that wipes the screen of enemies while playing a flashy color light show animation that's different for each plane. Giga has some pretty detailed character sprites and some larger enemy sprites that can be broken apart like this train. And overall, it's just a really pretty game. I always noticed it in the arcades because of how colorful all the bullets were and how interesting the character designs looked. The purple plane, Raijin, piloted by Sanosuke, is your generic spread shot, crowd control, don't need to focus on the enemy's character. He's got a lightning-themed bomb attack. The red plane, Carmine, piloted by Ruby, is the focus fire, high DPS character that is great for taking out bosses and has fire-themed bomb animations. The blue plane, Portia, piloted by Isha, is the homing missile, fire-and-forget-it character that allows you to focus more on dodging bullets than chasing down enemies. While it's not nearly as good at crowd control as Raijin and its spread fire, it's pretty easy to just focus on dodging rather than chasing down bosses. She has ice-themed bombs. The green plane, Wider Stand, piloted by Stuck, fires timed grenades that deny an area of effect on either side of the plane. These can take some getting used to as they have a time delay, and they don't fire directly in front of you. They fire at a diagonal. For his bomb attack, he summons a giant metal face that launches missiles, completely throwing out the idea of elemental attacks altogether. The reason I choose Giga to test out my new systems is because it has a pretty reliable startup It's not as demanding as a game like, say, Moochie Moochie Pork, which is a newer arcade shoot 'em up, but that game has a tendency to run into errors with the coin drawers, so it's about a 50-50 shot whether the game will actually start up or not. So since Giga starts up so reliably, you know that it's gonna work on a good system. So if your system can start it, then you're good to run a bunch of other arcade games as well. And then on the other end of the spectrum, the game also demands a high amount of processing ability whenever you get a ton of bullets on screen and you reflect them all back. Because for whatever reason, the whole reflection mechanic uses up a ton of resources, and even on my 21-watt boosted GPD Win 4, it still manages to lag a little. So if you can run the game, and you can run it well, then you know that your system is up and running perfect to run pretty much anything else from the arcade, aside from some ridiculously taxing new titles, or like 3D stuff. But if you can run Giga, you can run pretty much anything in 2D. Giga would later come out on the Dreamcast, and that version got mixed reviews because of the arcade difficulty on a home console. Anyways, that's all I've got time for this week. I hope you found the game interesting. Ciao for now, and Hexi out. Thanks go out to my Patreon supporters. Your donations mean the world to me, and I thank you for supporting my future endeavors.